Well, good evening, private practice success community. How are you guys going? Let's see, where am I? I'm on my Facebook page and I am going to share this live stream in my groups so that I can see if I can find anybody else that's being just a tad bit on Australian tonight. And let's see if I can find some people to join me as I live stream on what is game 1 of Origin Footy. Let me put that in there. Master, hang on. What group is it? Master, yep. Master level graduates. And one more group, bear with me, because that might mean that we might actually have some people joining me. Or am I really going to be the only person in our private practice community that is not watching the footy right now? Please tell me I'm not the only one committing this mortal sin. Let's see who is going to join me. As we wait for people to hop on, it is day what? Today is day number, let's have a look, 68 of my 90-day vlog challenge. 68. That means there is still 22 days left of live blogging, and I've got the first person that has joined me. Hey Michelle, thank you for joining and not letting me just talk here to myself. So I assume you're not a big footy fan because you are here with me, unless of course you're being a typical female and you are multitasking and watching me whilst watching the footy. So it is 8:37 p.m. I'm here and I have been a bit naughty in that my kids are still up. All right, my husband is actually in South Africa at the moment, which means that I'm the only person in charge here, having to look after them. And who else is here with me? Say hi, say hello in the comments so that I know who you are, because sometimes Facebook is a bit mysterious and it won't tell me. So I can see we've got 2 people, and Michelle, you are one of them. So I'm here by myself, and I thought, what's going to be the easiest way to get the kids to cooperate and not be too noisy on this live stream? And I'm not sure whether I've made the right choice, as I hear often screams of no, no, or yes, yes, as they are enjoying the footy upstairs. So if there's any unexpected noises, know that it's coming from the living room and they're just having fun, because I thought that's the easiest way to keep them occupied whilst I chat with you guys. So who else do we have on here? Come on guys, say hi, say hello in the comments section. I see we've got 4 people here already. So it seems like I'm not the only person not watching the Origin footy game. Hi Sulema, welcome, welcome. So you not a Blues fan. Are you from Melbourne or Sydney? I can't remember now off the top of my head. Yes, hi Rachel, are you also not watching the footy? I'm so glad it's not only me, because I feel very un-Australian. Normally if my husband is here, like, he makes me watch it with him. So I get out the chips and dip, and then at least I can enjoy some food and sit and work on my laptop whilst I'm pretending to watch the footy. Being from South Africa, of course, I don't really know the footy. Rachel says no way. So I follow the game of rugby. I love to watch rugby, but I will only watch like international games. Those are the ones that I really get into, but not footy. It's like a completely different game. And AFL, if it is even like a game played on Mars. When we we were still in Australia, and we would see, snippets of AFL games being played in Australia that they might show on TV in South Africa, we always thought that it is the craziest game ever. That's like now the AFL, where you've got Essendon and Carlton and the Hawks and those guys, and it just seemed like all these guys crashing into one another and injuries waiting to happen. Salima says, Sydney, hubby is watching, so it's on in the background. It's the same here. It's the same here. And even though my husband's not here, the kids are enjoying it as well. So that's good to know. I'm not the only one into that. So how have you guys been? I hope you've been well. I hope you've had a great day. I thought what we might do is do a bit of a Q&A this evening. So I thought I might open it to everybody that is on here. If you've got any specific questions related to anything whatsoever to your private practice, whether it's operational stuff, the day-to-day management, money stuff, mindset, marketing, anything, please pop it into the comment section and I will answer that for you. Nothing is off limits. Nothing, maybe I shouldn't say that. It still has to be an appropriate question. All right, please feel free and ask anything. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to look on my laptop here, because sometimes what happens is that on the phone where I'm recording, it only shows the first couple of lines of any questions or comments that people make. So it just makes it easier to check out the laptop. Rachel says, my client base is, okay, it's still coming up here, is growing thanks to GP visits, etc. And I think I will be wanting to move soon. Awesome. But having so much trouble finding a new premises. Any tips? I get that, Rachel. The last time I had to move from my then Cornubia practice, and I moved to Logan Home. So basically what happened is that I was renting the middle unit, and they were unit A and the unit C. We were unit B. We were the only unit in there, and the other two on both sides had been standing empty for a long time. They eventually got it leased out, but the gym that wanted to take on the lease said that they will only take it if they can get the whole place. So obviously the little private practice in unit B were kicked out, and they gave me 4 weeks to find a new place. And of course they gave me this notice 4 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, which was very, very frustrating. At least I were able to negotiate 2 extra weeks notice. So I basically had 6 weeks to find new premises. And I can tell you it was very, very frustrating, because when I moved, I really wanted to keep it in the same geographical location, and ideally not want my clients to have to drive more than 5 minutes longer, or shorter, even better, than where they were going already, which again limits your, I guess, pool of choices. So my first question would be, I'm assuming that that would be the same for you, because obviously you want to keep your existing pool of clients, you want to keep your existing pool of doctors, GPs that are referring to you. Rachel says everything's either too big, too small, and no room to grow. Exactly. Yes, exactly. So what did I do? Tips. I spent. Hi, Natalie. Thanks for joining. Rachel said, yes, I want to stay within 3 to 4 kilometers. Excellent, Rachel. That's what I did. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining. Glad to see you on here. Rachel, what I basically did is I hopped online and just quickly, for the others that has just joined me tonight, we've got a bit of an open Q&A. So if you've got any questions whatsoever, pop it into the comment box and I will read those out live and answer you. So I'm currently answering Rachel's question. Rachel wants to move premises, struggling to find an appropriate location. So basically, Rachel, I hopped online and I just started to search on the commercial real estate websites. There's a lot of warehouse type commercial stuff, but it's really hard to find like professional suites or medical suites and offices, or you find an office and there's no natural light, or the waiting room is just so small, all that type of stuff. What I found also is that I did a lot of visits with agents. When you can actually find one or two commercial real estate agents that work with the bigger real estate companies like Rain and Horn and those guys, or Alja Hooker that does the commercial work, they will have a lot of commercial real estate on their books. Rachel said, yes, no natural light has been a big issue. I agree. And what I did with two of them is they took me like one day to all their different places. And it was really interesting because I go a lot with my gut as well. So the moment we stop at the place and they go, it's that unit, I already go, yes, I'm excited, or oh, I don't like it. Because it's not only the inside. For me personally, I look at the surroundings, I look at the way the street frontage looks like, because I want people to enjoy coming to the practice. It's hard enough doing emotional psychotherapy, it's emotionally painful, so I want it to be as pleasant an experience as possible. Then you need to look at stuff like parking. When they come out, can they turn left and right easily? How's it going to be when there's traffic? How much parking space is there? I know a lot of my high-level clients that have been looking for commercial real estate, especially in Melbourne, has really struggled to find places with parking. They've been so limited. Obviously, you here in Brisbane with me, but I always suggest following your gut. You need to be willing to look and look and look. For me, finding a space for the practice has very much been like the way that I buy a house, in that I will look at many houses, and then I will walk into a house, and the moment I'm like in the foyer, I already know this is it immediately, and I will pursue that house until I get it, and that's just how I am. I trust my gut a lot with that type of stuff, because it has to be aligned to my vision for my practice. So that all being said, at the end of the day, Rachel says that you purchase your premises or do you rent? I rent. I have considered purchasing, but yeah, no, I haven't been willing to invest the amount of money that people ask for places in my local area. I just haven't been willing to do it. And that being said, my rent is actually very good. Don't tell my landlord. Hopefully he's not on here. Either of them watching this, I highly doubt they are, but I think I've got an excellent rate for rent. Anyway, what I ended up doing, which was really the one thing I didn't want to do, Rachel, was I ended up renting a clean slate. Okay, the reason why I didn't want to do that is because I only had 6 weeks to find a new space and move in. But I did it. And when I walked in, there was like just a concrete floor. But I liked it because it was a clean slate. I liked it because I had a say in how big the rooms are going to be, whether I have a storeroom, whether there's a kitchen, how big the waiting room is, all that type of stuff. And it was in the perfect location. So location was a huge tick for me. It had ample parking, was just off the M1, easily accessible, very easily accessible. The only thing that would have made it more perfect in terms of location, if there was a coffee shop on site. And there was one for a short period, but they left because they weren't profitable. Not everybody runs their business like a profitable business. Anyway, and I negotiated with them and they did the fit out for me. I didn't have to do it. They agreed to pay $20,000 in fit out and I moved in. That being said, Rachel, although natural light is really important for me, that site doesn't have the amount of natural light that my Kapalaba practice has. So at Kapalaba practice, all three out of the 4 rooms have got like huge windows, bigger than the window at the back here, like almost ceiling to floor. The whole one room is just windows. Those windows, of course, that you can see out but you can't see in, and there's blinds as well if you want to close it. So at my Local Home practice had none of that. We've got all the front windows and then there's nothing. So what we did to counteract that is when they put up the walls, the top like meter or so from the ceiling to where the wall finished here, and this is still all glass, which means that the natural light coming through the front doors can go through all the rooms, and even right to the back there's glass at the top, which just means that there's a flowing of sunlight, the natural light that comes in, and that was the payoff. And people are very happy there. Our clients are happy. None of the clinicians complain, so it's worked out really well. But also because the rooms are big. I think if you have smaller rooms and with those windows at the top, it will still not be as good as when you can have really roomy rooms, and that's why I liked having a clean slate. Let me just see here. Rachel says, okay, thanks. I hope that was helpful. Enjoy the process, Rachel. Enjoy the process of finding that. So let me read Sulaima's question. Sulaima says, I employ a part-time receptionist and I'm finding it hard to manage her since she is usually in whilst I'm seeing clients. Yep. We have limited time to talk, and it's frustrating when things are not followed up on, or I'm unsure whether tasks have been done and what the outcome is. I can't afford to have her working more hours at this stage. Any tips on how to ensure I'm getting the most out of the limited time I have with her? Thanks in advance. Okay. First of all, Sulema, well done on getting yourself a part-time receptionist. Although you're limiting her hours, at least you have her. I think a big mistake a lot of practice owners make is to wait too long before they outsource that. And I will always outsource as soon as I can. So what you're saying is that it's hard to have that communication with her. So it's really about finding a way of communicating with her that is going to work for the both of you. Now that might mean you sending or typing up and sending her an email with all of the things that you want her to do on a day, and then her coming back to you on that. Really what you want to instill is accountability, and I've made this mistakes a lot of times. I've had people work for me in administrative roles. I'm very trusting, and I'll go, okay, please go and do that, and I assume it gets done. Guess what? Very often it doesn't. Not because they're a bad person, not because they're lazy. Sometimes they just don't know how to prioritize. Sometimes they get flustered. Things happen. Sometimes they don't know what to do and they don't feel confident enough to ask, or anything could be happening. So rather than just trusting that they're doing what you need to do, you need to, right from the onset, get a system in place where they actually report back to you and there's some accountability in terms of what they have done. Now you can do that via email if you want. Sometimes I find it's actually just easier for me to speak stuff out. So you can maybe have an agreement where you WhatsApp her. You can actually WhatsApp a message on your phone where you tell her what I'm going to do. Whenever I have this idea in my head, I'm going to just download it by leaving you a message on WhatsApp. I don't expect you to listen to it after hours, but I do expect you that when you walk into the practice on a Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, for example, that you listen to it and that you know what it is that I want you to prioritize on that day, in addition to all your standard tasks that you need to do. And what I need you to do is, at the end of the day, before you go, because we of course don't get to see one another, send me a WhatsApp message and just go, Sulema, I've done A, B, and C, but I didn't get to D, E, and F, but I plan on doing this at this time. and just get that communication flowing and get that person used to you telling them exactly what you need to do, which really clarifies expectations for them and helps them with that process, and then and that person then reporting back to you. So either use Messenger, you can leave messages on Messenger, you can leave messages on WhatsApp, or you can do it via email, but you want to start that system or that process. In the past, at times, what I've also done is left people notes, but I actually these days just prefer leaving them a voice message, and just saying, you know, just check these when you walk in, but I might leave it for you 10 o'clock at night, because that's when I'm doing my thinking and I've reflected and I've downloaded everything that I need to do. Just ignore it until you walk into the practice the next morning when your shift starts, and get those things done until such time as you are able to do more hours with us, and we can have a meeting on a weekly basis in the start of the week and the end of the week to have this communication. So it's just about positioning that person in terms of how you want that system to work, and at the end of the day it's going to be less frustrating for you, and it's going to help that person with being really clear on what is expected of them. Okay, hope that was helpful. All right, let's have a look and see that I haven't missed any questions. Yep, let's go through here. Who's still with me? We've got Rachel, Salema. Okay, Salema says good idea, fabulous. So if there's anybody else on here that's got any questions for me, now is the time to speak. Let me know if you've got anything else that you need me to answer. And by the way, Salema, now that I have you on here, I am loving the selfie workshops that you've been running. Very, very creative. Very creative. I go, darn it, why isn't it here in Brisbane so I can send my 15-year-old to go and attend that workshop? So well done on being so creative and really running something that is so relevant to young girls these days. I really, really love that. Alrighty, I don't hear any shouting upstairs. I'm not sure if the Maroons are doing well or not so well, whether it's a good or a bad thing. Hey, Rachel's got a question for us. Awesome, Rachel. Rachel says, I have too many clients and want to reduce, but what do I do about the fact that more and more GPs refer to me, and I call the clients and they won't go to one of my colleagues? That is a very difficult one. Rachel, that is actually, Rachel says GPs, yeah, I assume so much. That is a very common problem for clinicians, i.e. and practice owners who are good at what they do, who are good at building relationships with doctors, who are good at engaging clients and building rapport, and who gets great clinical outcomes for their clients. So that's a testament to you as a clinician. So first and foremost, we take that as a big compliment, because what has happened is a lot of good word of mouth, and GPs obviously get feedback from their clients who say that you're really good at what they do. GPs will then do a hard sell sometimes. Sometimes it's a soft sell, but sometimes it's a hard sell, and especially when clients are either fearful of coming to therapy or scared of the stigma, or they might have heard other people's bad experiences with psychologists, or they just scared and anxious about the process. What the doctors often do is really sell the clinician and say, you know, this person's really nice, they're very helpful, all that type of stuff. And when the client then agrees, okay, yes, I'll accept the referral, I'll finally go and do something about my mental health, then they're basically hooked on you. Okay, and that's why it's so hard to get them to see someone else. So there's probably two things that you can do there. And unfortunately, there's not a quick fix to it. It will take some time, and it is a bit of a time-intensive solution. So probably the ideal solution is for you to identify, your practice angels. One of the things I always say, and I teach this at my masterclass or weekend workshop, is to always accept a referral from a practice angel. Now, as you grow your practice and you work less clinical hours and you've got more team coming on and you want to fill their diaries, that's going to become harder and harder to do. So let's say for me over the years, I might have started with 10 practice angels when I was doing 4 days of clients. And when I went down to 3, I might have gone, okay, I can't take the clients of all 10 practice angels, but I'll take the clients of my top 5 practice angels. And then when I went down to 1 day, I went, okay, I can't take on clients of 5 practice angels, but now I'll do it to 3 practice angels. So if that makes sense, so really reducing the number of practice angels that I personally will look after. And then training my team up to do the same. So teaching them how to build relationships with practice angels, also teaching them how to build relationships with new practice angels. So for example, the doctor that's just referred for the very first time, how to get that doctor to become a practice angel. Okay, so that's maybe something that you want to do. So maybe have a think, let's say you've got 10 practice angels right now, and go, all right, how do I need to limit those number of practice angels that I will take referrals from? Depending on how many client days you want to do. And then you go, okay, who's the practice angels that I need to let go of or transfer to my team? Okay, then you select, let's say 4 doctors, and then I would do a personal phone call to them. Personal phone call, thanking them, of course, for their support, letting them know that, your practice is growing, which is really exciting, which is testament to the way that they have supported you in the practice over the last couple of months and years. But that does mean that you have a less capacity to take on clinical work because you now need to focus on supporting the team so they can better support the clients and on doing the business development and that side of the practice work as well. And then you start talking to them about maybe one specific new clinician that you think will be a good fit for the type of patients that doctor might refer. So what you're basically doing is converting the doctor to the new clinician. But I would do that with one clinician at a time. So you don't tell the doctor, I've got 3 new team members, it's too much. You go, okay, this is the doctor, I'm going to introduce him to this new team member. Does that make sense? And then also advise the doctor that as the practice principal, of course, you supervise all your team, which really means that their patients will be getting the best of both worlds, in that they'll see this person that's going to have a lot of time to case manage and manage what's happening in a very collaborative way. They're going to have the time to call around or do whatever they need to do while still getting your input as supervisor of that clinician. And then ask the doctor to, next time they have an appropriate referral, to please consider sending the patient to that person. Okay, and really having that conversation with the doctor. Of course, when you have this phone call, you want to call between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. in the quieter time of the day, because this is a bit of a longer phone call, but it's so worth it. But it is a bit more time intensive. Okay, and that is probably the first thing that I would do, because this is the thing that works the best. Rachel says, okay, that helps. Obviously, what is even better then is if you then get that clinician to go and do a GP meet and greet at that doctor's practice, because that is just the cherry on top in terms of that doctor actually getting to meet that clinician face to face. It's standard practice anyway for us when we have new clinicians coming on board that we want to introduce all new clinicians to our GPs, and we do that across various platforms, the best of which is a face-to-face meeting, and if that's not possible for whatever reason, at least that clinician making a phone call to the doctor again at a quiet time of the day for the GP and just saying, hi, my name is Gerda, I'm new at what your practice name is a North Brisbane Psychologist, if that's still the name, if I'm right from memory, and I've just started working with Rachel. She said that you've been a great supporter of the practice, wanted to let you know that I'm here. I also work with whatever it is that you guys specialize in over there, and just do a very brief introduction, less than a minute, and that again breaks the ice and just starts that relationship building. The other thing that I have come to learn, the second thing is to tell clients that it's going to take a really, really long time for them to get in with you, and really convert them into seeing another clinician, but letting them know that if at any point they are unhappy, that they can call you or contact you, and you can then make other arrangements. And then you just have to rely on the abilities of your clinical team to build rapport and build engagement with those clients. So basically what you're telling this client is that if you are willing to risk seeing my team member because you've been sold on seeing me, but if you're willing to risk seeing this person and you're not happy, then that's okay. You can come back to me and we're going to make another plan. And you know, that might be you seeing them, or it might be them seeing someone else at the practice. Rachel says, yes, I do that, and a few have said that must mean I am good and they will wait. Well, a third thing you can do, Rachel, I need some water, is to price yourself higher than your team members. As the principal of the practice, I would suggest you do that anyhow, because for a lot of people, price is going to have an impact. Hi, Frank. Thanks for joining. Rachel says, okay, I will try that strategy of saying they can come back. Yes. So the other question, Rachel, is, do you charge the same as your team? If you do, I would suggest you put your fees up with at least $20. Okay, because you are the practice principal, your time is worth more, you are probably more experienced than your team, but even if you aren't, you need to be charging more as the principal psychologist. Just like the principal at a school gets paid more than the teacher, you need to be paid more than your team. Rachel says, yes, the same. Great idea. It is, isn't it? Because for a lot of people, $20 is a big difference, and it might just be that extra motivation that they need to go, okay, yeah, I'll try this other person, because $20 over 10 sessions, that's $200, and for me, that might make a big difference. So definitely try that one. Awesome. Okay, for everybody else that has been joining us, we are doing an open Q&A, so please feel free to ask any questions that you might have. Frank, so I'm assuming you're not watching the footy, seeing that you've joined us. And I'm assuming you shout for the Blues, not the Maroons. Say hi, say hello if you've hopped on, and please feel free, I'm just looking through the comments, to ask any questions that you might have. Okay, anyone else have any questions before we finish off, if there's no more questions? Let's see. Okay, last 30 seconds to get a question in. Oh, my kids are absolutely loving this, because this is the latest that they've stayed up on a weeknight for a very long time. And if their dad wasn't in South Africa, they would have been in bed by now, long ago already. Rachel says they're all watching the footy. Yes, means we get to do what we want to do. Alrighty, cool. So we've spoken about finding premises, we've spoken about communicating with our reception, we have spoken about getting doctors to refer to our team, and Frank, awesome, you've got a question for me. Frank says, hi Gerda, numerous local GPs have turned away from us and stopped referring clients once I explained that bulk billing is not a sustainable option for us. Suggestion. That is a difficult one. That is an unfortunate one. That's all I can say. Very, very unfortunate. You know, bulk billing, we don't bulk bill. We're not a bulk billing practice. We might bulk bill somebody that has been attending for a long time, paying full fee, and then something happens and they can't pay. And we often get asked why we don't bulk bill. And we have, we answer that. And our answer generally when we do meet and greets is something to extent of that people do better when they contribute to their psychological care. I'm just thinking actually now I've got do I have the document open here? I somewhere have a document. No, I don't have it open. Where I've actually written down a response to that, Frank. I might look for it and send it to you. Obviously, at my practice, we're very fortunate in that we do ATAPs. So we always have a comeback to that in terms of going, well, you know, we don't bulk bill. However, if you do have clients that do have financial constraints, we're happy to accept ATAPs referrals. And if the doctor goes, ATAPs, what's that? Or we don't do it, then we always go, we're happy to give you the form, show you how it all works, that type of thing, but we don't bulk bill. That being said, there is a clinic in our building that does do bulk billing, and my principal Frankie, and maybe when you come to retreat you can speak to her about her experiences in doing GP meet and greets, and one of the doctors actually said, why would I refer to you, because these other guys, and he called them by name, they do bulk billing, and I won't tell you what her response was. I think she said, just between me and you, well, and she did this in a very nice way. First of all, let me say that Frankie knows how to deliver stuff in a way that I can never, ever deliver it. She does it, you know, in a humorous way. She does it in a non-offensive way. She does it in a very soft way, yet assertive way. And she just laughed and said, well, you get what you pay for. And then she laughed about it. And what could the doctor do, you know? But that was her response, because that is true. You know, you pay what you get for. Or you get what you pay for. That's the saying. Yes, that's what she said. Yeah, it's an educational process. And when we go out to doctors, our goal is to educate them in terms of that the research shows that clients get better if they contribute to their sessions. They get better outcomes if they contribute to their sessions. You know, I do realize that there's a lot of practices out there that do bulk billing, either as a means to kickstart their private practice because it's an easy way to get clients, but then unfortunately it establishes you as a bulk billing practice, and it makes it so much harder to convert to full fee and not be seen as a bulk billing practice anymore. Then there's other practices that do it from a social values perspective in terms of wanting to, you know, contribute to the community in that way. I say good for them, you know, but that's not what I want to do, because it doesn't allow me to build the type of practice that I want, doesn't allow me to provide optimal quality service to the client in terms of having the best clinicians on site, having you know, great aesthetics in terms of the clinic that they walk into, all of that type of stuff. And what was the third one that I was thinking? The third reason why some practice owners bulk bill is to be competitive when they're entering the market, and especially if there's a lot of other practitioners in there. So I would really say, when you go in and you talk to a doctor and they are cranky because you're not bulk billing, make it about the fact that in order, two things, but firstly, in order for you to provide a quality service that clients deserve in private practice, you need to charge a gap fee on top of their bulk billing. Obviously, they pay the full fee and then they get the rebate. And of course, the research, the evidence is very, very clear that people get better outcomes if they actually pay for their sessions. And that's the two things that I will consistently educate doctors on. But you know what? If those doctors do not want to refer to you, I would still continue marketing to them. So you've done the masterclass, you know, the stuff that we've covered there, I won't exclude them from it. Because they might have clients that actually need your specific service, and if they realize it, they will still refer them. So don't give up on them. You're doing the marketing anyway, still include them, but then really start spreading your wings and go, where's other GP surgeries in this area that maybe I haven't targeted that I can reach out to, and maybe even go 5 to 10 kilometer radius further out. Okay, and search for those surgeries that actually charges a full fee, and then start targeting them through meet and greets, through the marketing activities and stuff that you know to do, and be start catching people from those areas as well. I know a lot of people don't want to drive far, but me personally, if I'm told by a doctor to go and see somebody and they tell me, and this is the best person to help you, I will travel up to an hour, 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, I'll start complaining about it, but I'll probably still go. But 45 minutes is like my maximum generally. So really go, you know, what is a 30 to 40-minute drive away from your practice, and then really drill down on what is your niche area that you work in, what is the specialities that you work in, because that is the stuff that people will travel for. And really go, you know, if the other doctors don't want to come on board with the bulk billing, you know, you continue marketing to them, but in a way you want to let them go in terms of going, I will release you, you know, I will still give you value, I'll still add through education, through my marketing activities, and include you guys. However, we're going to step it up now, really drill down on our speciality, and then start getting those clients in from the GPs that align with how we do things and the type of work that we do. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I know I can talk a lot, Frank. Salema says one more question. Go for it, Salema. Brooklyn. Hi, Brooklyn. Thanks for joining. Hi, Tanya. Thanks for joining. Frank says, good one. What part of that, Frank? I said so many things. Rachel says, I agree. And I think the kind of client we want know this, and our GPs mostly know this too. That's right. That's right. You know, there's a lot of clients out there, and clients that need bulk billing, and if you don't offer ATAPs, you know, they can go to bulk billing psychologists, and you will be happy to take on the full fee paying clients. Easy done. There's a place for all of us out there. Alrighty. Okay. Salema, what was your other question? Here we go. Salema says, I'm looking for a new accountant. What should I be looking out for before making a decision? I get this question so often, Salema. I really need to start compiling a list or something, but I don't really have a list. I guess I was very fortunate, and I think you were at my workshop where I talked about the importance of having an awesome accountant. I was very fortunate in that my accountant was recommended to me by my business coach. Will was actually my business coach, Nathan's accountant. So they have worked closely together. And I guess what I'm saying is that a personal recommendation is probably the best recommendation that you can have. So he said, well, Will is my accountant, and he told me about how excellent he was. He told me about his approach to his clients, and it ticked all my boxes that I didn't know I had until I actually got to meet Will. Yeah, so if you can get a personal recommendation, great. You can always put up a post in our Private Practice Success group asking for people in your local area if they know somebody that they can recommend. What I can tell you is when I started working with my accountant, he had never worked with a psychologist before. So this person doesn't need allied health experience. It's not about the allied health experience. It is about the approach to working with his clients. So Will is, I've got personal access to him. I can call him. I've got his mobile number. Although he's got a very busy practice, he always has time to talk to me. His model of working and his team, he's got a big team in the city, but he's got quite a lot of staff members, but they only have they don't have a lot of clients, so they really want to give quality support to their clients. And I've told him, well, why don't you can open up offices across Australia because you are so good at what you do. And he said that doesn't go with his vision for his practice, where he really wants to get the best possible quality service to his clients, and he can't do that if he's spread too thin. And I really like that about him. So I guess I'm saying personal recommendation and a really great approach to how they deal with you as their client, and accessibility, where you can call, email, and they will actually respond in a timely manner. The other thing that I like about my accountant is that he doesn't look at my business in isolation. He looks at my whole family setup, and whenever I go for a meeting or stuff, he calls it the Mala family. The document's normally entitled something around that, because he looks at my personal circumstances, he looks at my mortgage, he looks at our cars, he looks at my husband's work, he looks at all the perks and stuff that we have combined with our company, our trust, and all of that type of stuff. So he doesn't look at me as a business owner or as a business isolation. He looks at everything together, and that is perfect. That's how it has to be. So every financial decision I make, whether it's buying a new car, whether it is buying a new house, taking out a new mortgage, anything like that that's personal, I have to run past him actually. I didn't know it in the start until he would go, are you doing A, B, and C? Because somebody called me for this stuff, and I would go, yes. And he'd go, well, you need to talk to me about that. I said, oh, really? Yes. So that's the type of accountant that you want. Hey, Shane, thanks for joining. Rachel says, we have never let on that we bulk bill because we rarely bulk bill. Yeah, it's a really hard brand, I guess, to get rid of once you have it. I mean, I did it in the start. When I started, I did a lot of bulk billing, but I also quoted my full fee. My first client was a bulk bill client. My second client was a full fee paying client, but I still took on bulk bill, especially when GPs asked for it, until we got to this point where we started saying no to that, and that was a really hard thing to do. Sulema says, many psychs are bulk billing in my area. Hang on, what did I do now? It's tough to compete with. I know, it's so hard. It's so hard. I wish everybody would stop bulk billing. It's my personal belief that everybody has access to quality psychological care, but I also believe that there's a role for public mental health, NGOs, and private mental health to play. And, the public mental health can't expect us to do their job, but they do, okay? The NGOs get funding from government. We don't get any funding, nothing whatsoever, so the NGOs need to pick up a lot of that slack instead of people expecting private practice to do all the bulk billing. If we could bulk bill for an hour's work at $199, yeah, sure, then we can bulk bill, but not at the pittance that they expect us to bulk bill for. Okay, it's just not fair, and it's not financially feasible. And public mental health, and I know that's like a big thing, but it's political and budgets and all of that stuff, but that's their job. And then NGOs, they've got their job, and these two need to do their job so that we can do our job. So we look after a certain section of the community, they look after a certain section, they look after a certain section, because people need to have choice as well. And they can't expect a private business that doesn't get any funding to deliver what an NGO can deliver or what government can deliver. It's just not fair. Frank says, thanks, Gerda. And there's a ha. I'm not sure what that is. Frank said, good one. Was where you get what you pay for. A while ago, a business advisor had the idea to say, We fix sparkling psychology bot charts a bit cheeky. Yep. I hear you. Liz. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining. Slima said, thanks, great advice. Rachel says, thank you for clarifying the different sections and who they care for. I appreciate that differentiation. Yes. We can't be expected to do the same level of servers and do what those guys do without the funding behind us. Geez, that comes out of my back pocket. I can't do what the NGOs does. It's just literally impossible. And that's just how I see it. Everybody has their role to play, and I'm happy to play my role. I enjoy playing my role, and then we do that little bit of extra by doing some bulk billing, but it shouldn't be the norm for us, unless of course they allow us to bulk bill at $199 for an hour. That would be more financially feasible. Okay, any other questions, guys, before I let you go? I'm so glad to see quite a lot of people joining me on what is Foodie Night. What is Foodie Night? Any other questions? Not that I can see. All right, that was an interesting discussion. Very, very interesting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you've joined me. I think I now need to probably go and do the motherly thing and get the kids to go to bed, because it is a school night. Hopefully none of the teachers are watching, but I guess in Queensland it is Origin night. It is an exception. It will be okay. It will be okay. Alrighty, guys, so there's no more questions, so I think I will finish it off for tonight. Thank you again for joining me. It was really fun doing something a bit different and having a bit of a Q&A. Rachel says, thank you, Curtis. Sleep well, me too. Awesome. All right, so yes, that was live vlog number 68, I believe. Tomorrow is 69, getting very close to the end. It has become such a daily part of what I do. It's going to feel very odd when I don't have to do it anymore, but I'm already starting to think of, how can I somehow continue offering value without having to do it every day of the week. Hey Frank, good night. Thank you so much. So until I speak to you again, all you need to do is say yes to your very own level 5 private practice, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Bye.